and welcome to my channel. I'm Fornax and today I'm answering questions from my wonderful, fantabulous Patreon supporters and from you guys in the YouTube community. Now there are timestamps below, so if you did post a question, head down there and you can jump to my answer. Now there are quite a few to get through, so we shall tarry not and jump straight into it, starting with Darkgriever Final Fantasy XIV related question. Best and worst story arcs. Best, of course, is the narrative of Heavensward. My god, it's amazing. The betrayal, the blood feud, the bravery, the humility of accepting responsibility and seeking atonement. It's just stunning. And of course, dragons, like proper, primal, beautiful, intelligent, ethereal dragons. It's amazing. It's amazing. What didn't I enjoy? I'm not a huge fan of Lise. I'm not. The main issue with her, she's a bit insipid, childish, impulsive, whiny. I mean, that sounds terrible, and she's had a difficult life, and I should have more compassion for her. I can't seem to master that much, which is, maybe that's a flaw in my character. You have to care about characters. I care about Yustola. I care about Oriange. But her character, it doesn't seem to work for me. But I have the same problem with Casimir in Guild Wars. She's so needy and fluffy kittens, and I can't connect to her as a person. Hane. What kind of projects are you hoping to be working on in the future? My Sundays, for the past few weeks and going forward, will be consumed by my personal project. I have written the outline and framework of a sort of grand narrative which I'm determined to see become reality. It's a character-focused story about choice. I mean, I've started it so many times. I've been thinking of making it as an RPG, maybe as a novel. Now I've settled on making it into a motion graphics, kind of manga-esque anime type thing. Yeah. Work in progress. Professionally, there is the possibility of some voiceover work on an unreleased game, but this kind of work it's not done until it's done. So fingers crossed it's coming up in the future. I would love to be able to do some voiceover narration work. That would be lovely. My main focus is just to keep improving my narration, my editing, my visual storytelling skills, and the best way I can do that is just to keep working, keep making content, keep learning, keep working on my channel. Nirvacat. Please share tips and tricks on how to be a charming person like you. Thanks a lot. Nirvacat, it is very sweet that you think that I am a charming person. I mostly think of myself as a dumb geek. So I think you reap what you sow. When you treat people how you would like them to treat you, when you give people slack and consideration and forgive them their flaws and embrace their failings, and just be kind and sweet, then the good people, the kind people will reciprocate. I think the most important thing is to not pretend to be something you're not. I don't pretend to be an epic, try-hard, gaming god. I just like games and having fun and making videos, and be yourself, hon. Be yourself, and it'll be all good. Daydreaming Dee. Do you prefer fantasy or science fiction? Oh my goodness. It's like asking me to select a favourite puppy. The answer is I love them both, but in very different ways. So all good writing is generally about character. Properly crafted, interesting, intelligent, relatable, curious characters. I like that. But I do love science fiction because I love science and I enjoy exploring worlds and ideas which we at the moment can only dream of. As we stare out into the cosmos, space is just so very large. Most stars we see in the sky have already died, and we may never ever be the spacefaring civilization dreamt of by Asimov or Gordon or Dickinson or Harry Harrison. So it's vital that we do explore in the only way that we can, through writing. Now, I also love fantasy, realms of imagination, with the primordial forces of the universe being bent to the will of the wise or the not so wise often. There's a hopefulness and a wonder about these worlds. There is a romance to fantasy and a scope which is often lack in more grounded science fiction based work. So I love them both. So I can't pick. I'm very sorry, I can't pick. Grondhammer. Do you listen to music beyond the game soundtracks whilst capturing/editing videos or writing? If so, what? I do love music, but when I'm working, I can't listen to it so much because, for example, so the perfect writing experience for me is sitting outside. So I live in a fairly rural place and my garden has many trees and birds, so that's just relaxing for me, perfect to focus, the natural kind of ambient sounds of nature. When I'm editing, I would love to listen to some music, but sadly, well, most of the time I'm either editing audio, so no. I'm laying down background music tracks for audio, so again, or I'm editing footage over audio and music, so that's all a big nope to additional sounds, which just, I can't work like that. It's annoying. When I'm capturing, I will more often than not, I will listen to podcasts and the audio of YouTube videos, so I can tell you that at the moment I am in love with Billie Eilish. She's an amazing artist. And my musical loves are eclectic to say the least. From Pearl Jam to Shakur Mason, he's a celloist, very young British celloist. Amazing. So yes, I am weird. Okay. Aidda. Question 1. Do you have any other screenshots from any games you would like to show us? I have actually made you a screenshot folder with mostly Guild Wars 2, but I will keep adding to it so you can have a look at what I'm doing in my other games. Links below to my Crichton Herald Imgur page. Question 2. How did Blish die the first time and get into a robot? We are never explicitly told, but it is implied that Blish, much like Timmy, has a progressive and degenerative illness that unfortunately eventually claimed his body. Now, as to how Blish and his brother Gorick managed to upload Blish's mind into a golem, well, many Asuran players will know all too well, because it's thanks to Kronk of the College of Dynamics and his crew and their prize-winning MiG, aka Massively Impressive Golem. In the personal Asuran story, the MiG was the prototype of what would become the seat of Blish's consciousness. Now, the MiG enabled the mind of a living being to be linked to that of a golem. Sadly, or happily, depending on your alliances in-game, the MiG was sabotaged by the Inquest and went on a merry, murderous rampage of the Arcane Council before it was stopped. But, fortunately for Blish and Gorick, who are/were members of the Inquest, it seems likely that the stolen research saved Blish's mind. Question 3. What are your thoughts on the story parts like Kaith's missable talk in Sun's Refuge? Yeah, missable story moments. I think it's hard balance for the ArenaNet writing team. They spend 90% of their time holding the player's hand and pointing them directly at plot points so they don't miss anything. And then about 10% of the time, they don't even really include cryptic notes with their releases to explain that there's hidden story. Mostly it's less vital than the incident with Keith. I guess as players we just have to roll with the punches, and occasionally I do miss something myself, but you know, I totally get how it can be frustrating and confusing, and yeah. Can we get an account tour video? I am happy to give a mini account tour, and rather than doing a video I thought I would do a live stream. So my next live stream I will do an account tour. There you go. What other sites or resources do you use for the game? Oh, I mean, I'm fairly basic, to be honest. Sticking with the official Guild Wars 2 wiki, I use Delphi, amazing resource. Do support Delphi, they do an incredible job. And of course, Guild Wars 2 Reddit is a fantastic community and resource. I do also have a alerts set up, a Google alert, which sends me information about Guild Wars 2 and Final Fantasy, like Beyond Good and Evil 2, and games that I'm interested in. Now, for builds, I'm super bog standard. I am a dirty casual, terrible care bear. So I use meta battle, I use snow crows, I talk to people online, and I just make my own builds sometimes even. So don't tell anyone. What did you like and dislike about the Avengers movie? I am a proper science fiction geeky. I do like comic books, not necessarily all the superhero ones. The writing can be a bit noddy, but I do love the Avengers, Marvel iterations of the Avengers stories. For the movie, I liked the human moments, like Tony and Peter hugging, and moments between Gamora and her sister, and Thor and his mom, and those kind of emotive, real moments. Black Widow talking to Cap, the real connections. But obviously, the portal scene was incredibly emotional and uplifting, and yeah, it was a real heart pumper of a scene. So yeah, it was a pretty incredible ride. Dislikes? I'm not a huge fan of the Professor Hulk persona, and I felt less connected and less caring for Thanos in this film than the previous. He just seemed like he'd not gained that experience, he'd not gained the humility, the journey that took him to claim the stones also made him a better person, I think. Terrible a being as he was, he had his own moral compass, and I think he very much became a better person for the journey, despite the terrible, terrible things that he did. But this iteration is just arrogant and cold and mean, and yeah, not a big fan. Guild Wars 2, which order from the core game did you like the best? So when I first started playing the game back in 2012, I joined the Priory because I love history, I love exploration, I love gaining knowledge, I love sharing knowledge and wisdom, so that is my go-to order. That's my favourite one. I'm a nerdy geek. I guess in lore terms, the Order of Whispers would probably be the one that most lore nerds would pick because of its root origins and the original games, but not me. What progression order do you think newer Guild Wars 2 players should take? Map completion, story, dungeons, then fractals? If you love story, then I would have you playing the personal story and then the dungeon story modes as they arise narratively, and then onwards to Season 2. Sadly, you can't play Season 1. Please fix this, ArenaNet. We really need Season 1 because we really need an introduction of the characters, of Bram, of all of the characters that we play with today are introduced in Season 1, and yet we don't have Season 1, so people don't understand why they're there, they don't understand why we care about them. We really need Season 1. Okay, anyway, Season 1 round over, and Season 2, and then Heart of Thorns, and then Season 3, and then Path of Fire, and then Season 4, and that's how I would play it. I like map completion. I think there's a place for it. I think there are some interesting stories on the map, some interesting smaller stories on the maps. But I think that generally the earlier gameplay needs some TLC. We need the personal story to be replayable, I think. And we need Season 1 to be playable and replayable to make the game a consistent entity. And we also need the original vanilla maps to be improved for new players. The fractals are fine. They've done wonders in developing the fractals, and if you enjoy fractal development, that's great. It has a place in endgame, it's good. I mean, if all you care about is getting those levels out, then do World v World, PvP, you know, head to the heart of the mist and just rub your face off on that map until you hit max level. It's fairly straightforward, that's what I used to do. And of course, if you enjoy PvP, it's personal preference. I'm a story hound, I'm a lore hound, and I love exploration, so the story is perfect for me, but it's just personal preference. What do you enjoy playing? Play the game you want to play. When is there going to be a Kroof and Herald collaboration? I would love to do a collaboration with Kroof, and really it's whenever she has time for me. What questions do you have for us? My question is, what content would you like to see on the channel? From any game type, go mad, go nuts. Make suggestions in the comments, and you never know, I might make it, but no naughty things. I get enough weird comments. On the Jahai Bluffs, the 4 factions near the point of interest in Gaze of the Ancients, which story were you most surprised with? I have mostly forgotten that, so what I thought would be nice is if in-game we can have a wander around there together and have a good old chinwag about it in Discord if you fancy jumping in game with me. Call me. Keyrol Arias, do you ever stop and think of the beautiful voice you have? I had no idea that my voice was pleasing to listen to in any capacity. My husband said that he liked how I spoke and I had a nice speaking voice, but I mean, that's my husband. He's like contractually obligated to be nice to me and I to him, so no. Not a Scooby-Doo until people started to say that they enjoyed listening, which was lovely and surprising. Arthur Sparrow, as someone who balances YouTube and real life, do the two ever cross over into one another? As in, does something from your real life experience ever inspire you to make a video? And if so, which one? Or do you try and keep the virtual world, all of this, separate from your real life and whatever happens here is? I think we are all the product of our experiences, and that experience is happening to us every moment of our lives. And we see the world not how it truly is, but how we are. The good, the bad, we reflect that, we project that into what we create, even when we don't mean to. I do, however, think that it's entirely possible to project false personas out into the world, absolutely, at least for a short period of time. For example, I have good days, I have bad days like everybody else, but you will not see me sharing that too much in my work. You may think my voice sounds flatter in some of the work, brighter in others. I may laugh more or less, so that's about as far as it gets for me, really. I will say that the very first video that I made for Guild Wars 2 was a role-playing video I created. It was about the fall of Lion's Arch, and it was made not too long after my father passed. And I think that I allowed that loss to echo into the writing. To be clear, the video quality is terrible. The audio quality is abysmal. But I do think that the script, the writing, I think that still holds up. It was real. It felt real. And it was quite cathartic to do that. So, yes. I guess that's a long way of saying yes, it does. Aidan, what made you start playing Guild Wars 2? I was a member of a Star Wars The Old Republic guild, and as is the wont of role-playing guilds, much like travelling troops of performers, there is often a desire to tell new and different stories in new and different settings, and I moved over to Guild Wars 2 with my guild. Hello, Red Lion Syndicates, if you're still out there. I also played the original games, Prophecies, Factions, Eye of the North, Nightfall, I played them all. So when I heard they were making a new game, I was in like Flynn. I pre-ordered, I love the world, I love the lore. I jumped right in, and yeah, it was fun. So it was a combination of original vanilla Guild Wars player and my guildies from SWTOR wanted to try a new game, and we all jumped into Guild Wars 2 together. Exilok. Which quality of life features would you like to see in Guild Wars 2? Oh, how long do you have? Which are your top 3 tunes? What is your favourite weapon set? First quality of life. Endless stacking of crafting materials in the bank. Just let us put our things in the bank. Abolishing the fashion tax, I would banish the transmogrification costs and have it just have an in-game value and a gold sum to transmog. I hate that tax. Of course, build templates. and armor set templates too, so you can press a button and all your gear is saved, much like in Final Fantasy. You have one type for fashion, just purely aesthetic, and another type where you can actually swap the gear that you're wearing, which is linked, say, to your build template. Also, I would like them to allow race changing. I know that there's a problem with it. How far are you in the personal story? If you just say, you can race change, but your story will be reset. So you'll lose all your personal story, you'll lose all your progression through the main story. But your choice, do you really want to? And then people can make an informed choice. But allow people to change their race if they want to. Make loot drops matter. Make loot drop less often. Stop the bag in bag in bag in bag inception. It's horrible. When your rewards actually in fact feel like a punishment, this is bad. So just have less loot dropping, but make the loot that does drop matter. I don't know who thought that clearing out bags and having to endlessly sort through materials was an interesting game mechanic. If I want to do housework, I have a real life house. I don't want these tedious, repetitive chores. Oh, no more inventory wars, please. It's not good. So top 3 characters would be my Necro, my Elementalist, and my Guardian. So Asphodelis, my Elementalist, was my first character. Fornax, the Necromancer, was one of my mains for a long time. She's totally bomb-proof, and I just love my Guardian in Movie World. Favourite weapons? I don't have a favourite weapon set. I don't have one. I don't have a favourite colour, or a favourite artist, or a favourite place, or a favourite song, or a favourite game. My brain does not work like that. I don't even have a favourite food or drink or movie or anything like that. No, nuh-uh. Hermasuarus asks, what are some of your favourite experiences from playing Guild Wars 2? Story-wise, with Kanak in Cordicus's manor, just after we defeat him, I love that moment so much. That was the day that Kanak became the character that I most wanted to talk to in-game. Logging into the game on my Sylvari at the very start of Heart of Thorns was also a great moment for me, because I knew that stuff was going to go down and I was genuinely nervous about what was going to happen to my beloved character. What were they going to do? What are they going to do to this person that I've committed all my time to and energy? And they did a very good job. But in terms of real experiences outside of the story, mostly I just love chatting with my guildmates and my friends and having fun. These moments, the real moments when we're having a laugh and we're talking about stuff and we're teasing one another. I spent several hours with my guildmates running the Dwarven Ruins in the Highlands at Path of Fire, and they were all super shocked that my language was quite so Anglo-Saxon. So that was quite funny. Or sometimes the conversation gets serious and we talk about real things that really matter. When I connect with real people, those are the ones that will probably stay with me the longest. KV131. First, great job, thank you very much. And a few questions, happy to answer them. Do you work in real life with your voice too, like for a radio show or something? Language is on point, thank you. I am trying to break into the voiceover arena. It would be lovely to do so. And if you would like to employ me to narrate things for you, there's an email down there. At the moment, I'm working on my YouTube channel. There is a possibility of some work in the future on a game, but we'll see. What is your favourite class in general? What is it specifically for PvP? Loengrind. What is your favourite Guild Wars 2 class and build, and why? Also, do you have any other characters? Yes, I do. So I'm going to roll Leon and KV131's question here. So my favourite class for face rolling awesomeness is the Scourge Necromancer. Amazing. They're just absolutely bomb-proof, and I can just relax and enjoy the story and the spectacle of the game without worrying that I'm going to get knocked down or kicked out or beaten the holy tomatoes out of by stuff. So yeah, I like that. But I am also a bit of an alcoholic, so I have one of every flavour, sometimes two of every flavour. I don't get to play them as much as I want to. when my content creation started, my amount of alt play time just plummeted. Woe is me, I'm gonna have to stream more. What about PvP? And look, I have a note from my mama. It says that I'm not allowed to play with PvP with other people because I bite. I'm not a good PvPer. I lose my sense of humour too quickly, and I get mean and grumpy and annoyed, and I'm just not emotionally equipped for the intensity of PvP. It doesn't work. Stupid brain. Okay. Do you have something like a Guild Wars 2 routine whenever you log in? I used to log in every day, do my dailies, but once the content creation really started improper, it kind of killed the amount of time that I have to play the game. I want to play more, I plan to play more, and then something always comes up. Real life, work, and it's hard for me to kind of balance my work and my desire to play. Please give me a hint to get past Gold Master. Thanks in advance. You're very welcome. You want to know how to make money. I would like to know how to make money too, both in-game and in real life, because I am rubbish at making money everywhere. I can't even haggle to save my life. I hate dealing with money. I was an accountant for a decade, and I don't want to do it anymore. So no. I catch Shel to save my life. I can't make money to save my life. I rubbish. Sorry. Nathanielle Campo. How do you get auras, cheap weapon skins, and easy backpacks that look good? All your characters look amazing, by the way. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you to say. Nathanielle. Oh, Nathanielle, I wish I could help you. I have not heard of such a thing as a cheap aura. Unless you think 200 gold is cheap. I know that Twitchers often give away exciting and beautiful things. Fused Flame was giving away masses of stuff, including like the Queen Bee thing as well. So, I mean, keep an eye on Twitch streamers. Keep an eye, follow creators on Twitter for giveaways. In respect to the weapons, cheap is a relative term. So there are many great looking weapons on the trading post for under 10 gold. There are many great looking weapons you can get for gameplay if you want to play through the dungeons, or if you want to do crafting. There are some beautiful ones. There are hundreds of beautiful skins for under 100 gold. If you played the first original Guild Wars games, there are skins that you can apply without incurring any transmogrification charges, but you had to have played the first game and you had to have done achievements in it. Also for skins, if you've been playing for 5 years, plus you get free weapons skins, the free luminous skins, and a free luminous armor that you get when your character turns 6. So that's also a good way of getting the more expensive dyes. But it depends what you mean as to the term good. If you're thinking in terms of good stats, then crafting is your best bet. All ascended gear is the highest stats you can get in the game. All legendary gear just adds a layer of utility. It just means you can hot swap your stats. So ascended gear is awesome, and you can get ascended gear by crafting with the free to play account, but it will take you time and energy and effort to level your crafting skills. And you can actually change the stats on your ascended gear if you throw them in the Mystic Forge with some materials. So yeah, that's a super dependent question, and it's also totally open to interpretation and totally open to personal preference, so it's difficult to answer coherently. Sorry, Nat. Paper roll, cool name. Will you ever make a roaming video? Cheesy grin. I have actually done WoW roaming. I quite enjoy Havoc and Zergs, and I enjoy having fun in WoW with my friends, so watch this space, dude. I'll head over to Twitch. I do stream from time to time, and a few of my guildies are trying to poke me back into WoW World, so it's a definitely maybe. Shel B. I'm brand new, and I'm wondering if there will be another expansion someday. Will there be a Guild Wars 3? What's the next project? So I think there will be another expansion, yes. I think Season 5 will lead us in a new direction and kick off a whole new story arc, which will set the scene for the next expansion. So do I think there will be a Guild Wars 3? I mean, never say never. Tech is always steaming ahead, and games which looked epic 2 years ago can struggle to keep up graphically and mechanically very, very quickly. So it's possible that the management team will choose to jump ship and reboot a popular and much loved franchise. Look at Lord of the Rings Online, they're getting a reboot. So anything is possible, and I have no insider knowledge. I know nothing beyond what everyone else knows. So that's my Q&A for the start of June. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to me prattle on and answer your questions. I hope I did a fairly reasonable job. I think someone asked me about a face reveal. Dude, I have a face for radio, trust me. Nobody wants to see that. I sincerely hope you enjoyed the chat. I hope you found it interesting, insightful. If you have any more questions, please leave them in the comments below. I will do my best to answer them in text, or if I get enough of them, I can do another Q&A in the not too distant future if there is a demand for it on the channel. Now, I want to say thank you very much to my wonderful patrons, without whom I would not be able to keep creating as I do. That constant support helps me to keep the lights on in the studio, keep creating, keep having the resources to do so. So I can never thank you all enough. I hope you will join me again very soon. There's more content coming up on the channel, and for you patrons, there is more myths coming to you. Chaktal, my partner in crime, is going to be reading Beowulf for you, and I'm going to be reading a story about the Sphinx. So, Patreon only content, people. Yaha. Okay, take care, and I will see you again very soon.